I don't think we need the music anymore. All right, we are
No.
live and hooked up. Hello, everyone. Eric Watson here. Welcome to chat for the Lost Plane, our weekly live streamed post-session discussion where we talk about what the hell just happened during our D&D session. This is the chat for session 2, so if you haven't watched that session yet, do that now, because there will be spoilers. DM Chris is here, as always.
Hello. That's right.
It'd be a very bad chat if you weren't here. And Raymond.
Recap what happened?
Yeah, exactly. It's like, so here's what happened. Raymond will occasionally join us, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Session 2, we had a lot of more role playing between our characters, I think.
Oh yeah, yeah. Which I like that. It's
fun.
is very much a especially because so many of you have like either established or have pretty good characters built anyway.
Yeah.
That like there's a lot to get connected between all the different characters.
Yeah. I mean, the fact that, like, I just realized, something I always miss that we don't ever do, that a lot of groups I feel like don't do, because you always just thrust people in and we're just assumed you're all together, is to actually, like, introduce and talk to one another as, like, characters. So I tried to do that a little bit at the beginning, where I, like, all right, I'm going to actually
that's great.
introduce myself and, like, here's my name.
Yeah, and that's, I mean, the reason most games don't do it is because most of the time, it's a DM saying like, and you two see each other. The DM's got no control at that point.
Yeah.
Like if the characters just want to say like, okay, and we go away or we go do the thing, then it's over. Like there's none of that. It's kind of the player's prerogative. They can insert that kind of stuff wherever they want. And as a DM, you just go, okay, they're doing that right now. I'm just gonna sit here and watch this for a little while.
Yeah.
That's great. So like you and Scarlett getting to know each other in the hallways.
Man.
You and Kethra getting to know each other in the hallways.
Yeah, that's fun. Yeah, so you get all these little intergroup dynamics and sequences, and it is interesting coming into it from, as you mentioned, characters that are already established and like have these strong personalities, because that's part of the awkwardness when you start like a level 1 campaign, is you're still trying to figure out who your character is, what they act like, and all that.
Maybe you don't have a good sense. Yeah,
and you just kind of learn along the way, whereas if you start off with characters who are already well established and you play that character for a while, then you know immediately and you feel that confidence about how do I role play as this character.
Right.
Mine's a little bit different because I'm starting off still on the same foot, but
yeah, I wonder if that benefits from starting higher level, so you can kind of
you kind of build
like
that
someone who's been doing this forever.
Yeah, and I can build off the fact that I know all their characters pretty intimately,
yes,
so
that's true. Yeah.
I can know how they're going to react to things and all that. So I think that's a lot of fun. Yeah, a lot of hallway drama. We only made it through one fight, didn't we?
We
one
only made it through one more room.
All right, how freaked out are you now about the progress we're making?
You guys can go as slow as you want to go. This can last as long as you want.
Yeah, that was...
I will say that at the end of session 2, I thought you guys would be through 2 floors, and instead you're through 2 rooms. But that's fine. There's no problem with that.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys role played really well and took your time with like scouting out the room. You took a while to like evaluate what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of love, and I'm kind of like, okay, I'm gonna have to figure out how to deal with this. The fact that you got your two like scouter guys, the 2 guys who were like stealthy out there checking things, are kind of remorseless assholes.
Yeah.
Immediately wanted to like abandon that room and be like, oh well, who cares?
My character does love to kill demons though, so I was like, oh, there's demons there.
Kill demons.
Kill demons.
Yeah, kill a demon. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, we don't understand what's happening.
No, you don't. So it's yeah.
And yes.
But then I love that Heather took the Kalinar. I remember doing that with Kalinar, where like everyone's talking about we should do this, we should do that. She just walks past you all.
Yeah.
Like announces your presence.
That's always fun. Everybody who needs that character too is like, all right, let's just fuck it. We're going in. The George.
I'm just walking in. I'm walking in and talking to people.
Somebody in chat was asking me about my stats, so I've got my character sheet open on the screen right now.
Okay, nice.
That was a fun flex though for everybody's like damage output that we were shooting
it
out.
was. You guys were,
Jeez.
yeah.
That damage is insane at these levels.
At some point, you guys were all putting out 30 plus a turn for like a whole round.
Somebody at one point said I did 80 damage because I hit with like 3 attacks and they were all just like 30
yeah.
some. Like, holy crap.
Yep. And I mean, Horn Devils are pretty tough. They get a lot of life.
Well, that was a good example of, okay, this is how I pictured it, whereas you put Slayer's Prey on there in the beginning, and then it's just on there so that I can use my bonus action in the future to actually do like 3 attacks around, which just seems crazy.
Yeah. And then Scarlet using up those divine
She was using up those divine smites.
Like they were candy.
I don't know, man. Those are still spell slots. That shit's long rest. I mean, they're definitely impressive, but damn. I didn't end up using any of my short rest spell slots because I wasn't really. I wasn't really casting spells.
Yep.
My main spells, it's kind of similar to Kazan, which is I'm mainly going to be attacking, and then spells would be from like crowd control or me getting out of a situation, which unfortunately my defenses aren't the best. Concept. My saving throws are really not great. That's where I definitely am in trouble. Which I was even in. I was in Scarlet's aura and still didn't. That +3 wasn't enough.
Yeah, it still didn't happen. Yep.
I do have one thing where if the mark of my Slayer's Prey, I think, attacks me, I get at 7th level. The target of your Slayer's Prey forces you to make a saving throw. You can add 1d6 to your roll.
Ah, yes, okay. That'll probably come in handy at some point.
Oh, I forgot that Tim blessed me. I forgot to mark that somewhere.
Oh, yes, he actually did bless you. That was just a joke.
If he cast a spell, I was like, all right. Although he can bless up to 3 creatures. Would he target?
Probably, but we can ask him next time. Yeah. Who else he blesses?
Who else do you bless?
I wouldn't have accepted it.
I don't want your leech.
I don't want
it. Choose to accept the bless.
I was trying to see if there's like a save or something to.
Oh, to try to resist. Does it say willing?
It probably says willing creature.
It doesn't say willing creature. It just says you can bless up to 3 creatures. I don't even have a choice. Non-consensual bless. Chat asks, does Reese know he can take the Forbiddance spell on Cleric? He can nuke 40,000 square feet of what? Dealing 40,000 square feet. Is that actually in the rules? Or dealing 5d10 radiant damage with no save to fiends as a ritual spell. Oh, so you have to sit there for like...
Oh, you create a ward against magical travel that protects up to 40,000 square feet of floor space.
Wow.
They can't teleport into the area or use portals. So yeah, okay, that's more of a like lock down the area
you can set yourself, yeah.
Yeah. That might... I'd have to read this one a little bit more carefully, but that might fall into my initial rules where I told you guys couldn't mess with the plater stuff too much.
Yeah. He also says you have to have 1,000 gold worth of components, which... I forgot what your rules were, but I know at some point I mentioned, like, if something mention monetary,
then you have to consume it. Yep.
Never seen the spell in use before.
That's interesting.
I mean, this is all our newest stuff for high level, and we're already, like, we've already got so much stuff we're shooting off, like, holy crap.
Yep.
And thankfully I don't have super high level spell slots yet.
Yep. I briefly considered, and I always wondered this as a DM, because that fight was supposed to be the double challenge of, okay, do you save the trees versus kill the demons? That was the whole thing. But I kind of let that go at some point because I was like, wow, they should really just be attacking the players because they're just going to get killed if they don't attack the players.
Oh, so it was the first round you were just shooting the trees, right? With
yes.
The demon?
Yeah. The first round he was just lighting the trees on fire, just being sadistic assholes. I could have kept doing that, but on the other hand, you guys are doing so much damage. And I was like, if these guys don't do some damage to the players, players are just going to nuke them.
Yeah, I feel like the only thing I would have done is if you feel like we were taking a long time, like waiting to start that fight, then you would have like really
started
to be like, okay, one of these trees just dies and it explodes and it's really bad. And we're like, oh shit, you know. Or I mean, my character's not gonna care, but some of them might care.
I was considering that if Scarlet hadn't literally said, "I walk in there and start talking,"
at
I probably would have done that
moment.
to the middle tree. Yeah.
Because that's the thing. Is like
she probably saved that tree's life. And that was one of those things where, in lieu of XP or anything like that, I literally tied how many seeds she gave you to how many trees were alive at the end.
That's good, yeah. It's like a scaling reward.
Yep. It was basically going to be like, one dies, you guys get 2. If you got enough none dies, you guys are going to get 3. 1 dies, you get 2. If more than 2 die, that probably wasn't giving anything. Just...
Okay.
She would have just been distraught and just wailing.
Oh. Nothing to do but kill her.
She was never really in any danger. It would take so long to kill treants. Treants are really, they're high CR creatures.
I can tell you're already having fun with like all these creatures that we would never normally see too. It's like, oh wow, these are already like, we're gonna really start seeing some shit.
Yep.
And we already don't have a whole lot of meta knowledge because we haven't been playing D&D for like 5 or 6 years. But even then, like contextually, we don't have necessarily the background or the familiarity with a lot of creatures anyway, and then add to the fact that we've never gone to this level, so we're going to be seeing a whole lot of creatures that we've never seen, which is nice because it is hard to turn off that meta knowledge. And it's fun for like my characters, like one of his abilities is to like, you know, find out what resistances and immunities are, and if I already knew that, it'd be really hard to justify, you know, like, well, my character wouldn't know. That's, you know, that's the big meta problem.
Do I need to do this? Do I not?
Yeah.
Yes, that was the added bit to that combat. It was just like to how much. And honestly, I think at some point, I remember when I decided that the middle 3 trees, I was like, well, they're wet. I'm gonna let Tim just basically have saved those trees.
Yeah, my philosophy was always like, if a character expends a resource to solve a puzzle, even if it's not a way I anticipated, then that's totally fine. Especially if it's a clever thing of doing. Yeah, and Reese was always really good at using spells in that. I loved in spoilers for Tomb, I guess, but he pushed a pressure plate down by casting Create Water in a small area, and I thought that was incredibly clever.
Trying to figure out the tunnel.
The rotating tunnel, and literally made water crash down, which then did the tunnel. I was like, that's awesome. Yeah. And he spent at least, even if it's a level 1 spell slot, like he spent something to do it. It's different if somebody just makes like a skill check to do something. Then you really have to be like, okay, well, let's see what you're gonna do, and if it's actually clever. But if you're actually spending a spell or an item or something that's, you know, a resource, then I like seeing that as a solution. So I thought it was pretty cool that he
for sure
doused all the trees that way.
Yeah, so I kind of at that point I was kind of like, okay, like I'll count that as just like him solving the problem and just move on to the demons attacking the players and have it be a more straightforward fight at this point.
Chat, I did increase my constitution. Actually, it was worse than that at character creation, which if you watch my character creation video, I think it was that way. I think it was an odd number. I think it was 13, and on one of my ability score improvements, I evened it out to 14, which I think upped all my stuff. But yeah, I've got so many stats I need.
He's a backline caster. He's a backline
I'm backline DPS, and I will get hit occasionally. The bummer, you know, my character is so good offensively, but he's very much a glass cannon. Like, he does not have... None of his saves are very good. Well, I take that back. His dex is good. But all the mental saves, like, all that shit is not great.
I'm going to have to actually, speaking of backline, I'm going to have to actually figure out a solution to Kethra, because I don't think she's been touched in any of the fights so far.
I mean,
because it's like all the other players, and then an invisible force where arrows are flying out of the darkness.
That's the rogue stealth thing, yeah.
Yeah, it's. I mean, Maddox was doing it during Tomb. It's just that, you know, times 2, because she just can't get below 24, so it can't fail.
That's true.
Really.
I mean, the only thing is if there's no hiding spaces.
Yeah, if they can just see you.
They can just see me. I mean, we're in a tight quarter right now. I don't know what later will look like.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know the justification or not, but I only have that one attack.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
You know, it's not like I'm a fighter. It's just like George.
Yeah, swinging them multiple times. Yep.
And thirdly, I do want to try to get out there and be more creative, but again, tight corridors.
Yeah, not a whole lot.
It kind of lends itself, like
Yeah.
we're busting down doors, and you're just, you can easily just be around the corner, shoot, and then stealth and do that. Yeah. I don't think it's always going to be the situation, but
Right. So don't expect this all the time. It's just
tonight was also a little bit of a. I want to give a warning if Reese watches this. Also, all of you. What I realized is that most high-level, high CR creatures have magic resistance. So when Tim cast Darkness, I was like, that's probably not going to work, but we'll give it a shot.
Yeah.
I don't know if if the intention is just because the spell saves are increasing. I don't know what his spell save was at that point, 16, 17. So the way they match that instead of just upping the stats is to give creatures magic resistance, but a lot of creatures have magic resistance.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, that's something we should probably just expect. Same thing with the fact that they all have, like, resistance to non-magical. Like, at that point, it just... Everything has been escalated, and you're expected to have magic weapons at that point.
Right.
Man, I hated not having my familiar just because not only is he useful mechanically, but he's really fun to roleplay with.
Right, he's half your roleplay.
Yeah, he's good talking about roleplaying.
I do kind of love that people that you got two of your characters who just don't really believe you.
Yeah.
Just think you're crazy.
How did Styx die the first time?
It was
wyvern explosion.
during the first session. One of those celestial wyverns came in and did some kind of AOE and just he's only got like 10 hit points and he's got no armor class, so if he gets targeted, which he's invisible pretty much all the time, so nobody can normally target him. Yes, but any AOE is just gonna fucking explode him.
Yeah.
Can we talk about that one round where Eric did no damage?
Oh no, we're not gonna talk about that round. We're not gonna talk about that round. That was some bullshit right there. That was feast or famine for me.
Yeah. They were like all 8s or lower.
I think I kept trying to make sharpshooter work and it never worked, and then I immediately turned it off for the next round, and then
you got like
I started hitting like crazy again. I was like, all right, that was just insane. It was weird that all my bad rolls happened in one round though. Yeah, I just literally did nothing.
Still no ones.
Still no ones. You're right. Yeah.
We have still
I'm tracking
not seen
your new critical fumbles table. Yeah, I am. I'm tracking our crits and our crit fumbles, which, if I recall correctly, I think I got a crit.
Somebody else. Gillian got a crit.
Scarlet got a crit. No, sorry, Gillian got a crit. Yeah.
Yeah, with her axe. Yeah.
Yep. I think that's the only 2 that we got.
I think so.
Yeah, we had no fumbles though.
Yep, no fumbles. Not so far. Someday we'll use that table.
Mm-hmm.
I really liked the roleplay with the Trant, with you, Brow.
Yeah.
Some of you being a dick to her and Scarlet being very nice. Scarlet being excessively nice to people is probably going to come in very handy for you guys, because otherwise you just make people angry.
Exactly, yeah. She's going to be the face, which is nice, because that was a pain in the ass for me as the DM. You guys were always such dicks to everybody, and I was like, all right, this is...
We didn't have a nice face.
We didn't have a nice
was
face,
kind of an asshole, too.
Like, this is good. We've got... And Tim's a pretty nice guy. Like, he's supposed to be, just naive, but nice. Yep. At this point, me and Kether, I think, are the, ne'er-do-wells.
Yeah.
You, Brow. I didn't realize
you got a little bit more story out of her, just a little bit more exposition.
Yeah.
I actually should have seen that coming a little bit more. You guys trying to get more information out of her, but yeah, we
had so many questions.
As you guys were asking questions, she knows some things. She was brought here. She would know who brought her here and why they brought her here, and yeah, okay.
Yeah, we're still the main quest is just figure out I guess the bellboy thing was the quest we had to locate those.
Yeah. I mean, technically, and I guess I could still give you like the actual quest. I thought about it, then I forgot about it. Like giving you a quest after the arena because the three voices.
But if that's just
basically
like the one...
told you like come help us, like.
The only thing that would be nice is if that's like the only quest or thing, I would still have it in there and then just track like, because I did that with it's reminding me of the skeleton keys, is like track like, okay, you found this one on this level, just so you can like see a sense of progress, I guess.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Yes. I mean, you got some exposition out of your brow, but for the most part, it's your goal is still the same. It's just get down to the bottom of the tower.
Is this just one big tower campaign, or is this just the first dungeon?
Oh.
Or is that, am I asking too much?
No, you're... yeah, you may be asking a little too much, but...
Okay.
No, yeah. There's more than just this.
Is this a roguelike? We're just trying to get to the bottom of the dungeon and fight Diablo?
It's a never-ending tower.
Yeah. Make it to hell at the end.
You get to the your goal and then say, oh, okay, great. Now there's 20 floors of dungeon, but hopefully beneath the tower. Good luck.
Son of a bitch.
No, this world is not nearly as open as Storm King's. It's not as open as Tomb.
Yeah.
But it'll be a little open. You'll have at least an option or two at a few points of where to go.
Yeah. I actually appreciate railroady linearity at the beginning, and get into the story, get into your character,
right?
Don't. I feel like if you give them too much of a leash in the beginning, it's just gonna be meandering and
meandering, and just that analysis paralysis. 'Cause you don't know what you should care about yet.
I mean, it's video game design too. Like you always start like in a tutorial zone or a tutorial dungeon or something at the beginning. And you go through, you learn everything, you do all the things, and then at some point, if it is an open game, then the game, will open up in front of you, and then it's like, all right, now you can go around now that you kind of have been in there a while, know what to do.
Right.
What's the question about? How would you both solve the problem with none of the characters being a member of one of the groups? Having trouble getting players.
So I will say this, Duca. We're going pretty slow. We're going slower than I thought. So they may not actually meet their kidnappers for another couple sessions. I don't know.
The voices, right?
The voices, yeah.
Yeah. We are doing shorter sessions than Tomb, which honestly I think is going to be a lot better in the long run. I think we did too long for Tomb. It might be one of my biggest regrets, actually, is just trying to cram too much session into a single session. But the flip side of that is it will go a little slower.
Things are going to take longer.
Yeah.
That's fine. If you guys, if at the end of the day it takes you guys 5 sessions to get through the one dungeon, okay.
Yeah.
It's not hurting anybody. It's not like we're going anywhere. It's not like
Yeah.
I mean, at one point, I know we talked about trying to make this one go from September to December, but I kind of gave up on that pretty quickly.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean
pacing is very tricky.
Pacing is very tricky, yeah.
Because that's part of the live show. You just don't know where your characters are going to engage with stuff for a while versus when they're going to be like, all right, let's move on. Combat, you kind of always know.
I mean, at one point, one of you guys floated. I don't remember who floated it. I think it was Catherine, maybe. Like just leaving that room. Like we don't care about trees.
Oh yeah, Catherine was ready to turn around and leave.
Maybe you didn't even have to do. That room was optional. You didn't have to go in there.
Yeah, that's true.
I won't say it was optional, but you didn't have to go in there. I don't want to call it like a side thing. It's
if my character
was happening,
and if my character hadn't wanted to kill demons, I think Scarlet would have been like, "We're gonna go in there and save this person's babies." I think we would have eventually been drawn in there. So that was a good job of you in terms of enticing everybody to get in there. There was a danger moment, a chance to be heroic.
Yep. And that was just born of the. It's the not tiers, but the basics of all dungeons should have like combat and traps and social encounters and puzzles of some kind. It's like you got to get those core elements in there.
That's true. Jason, you're gonna have to expand on what you're asking about. I'm not quite sure. Being a member of one of the groups in that campaign. Which groups are you talking about? Member of one of the groups.
In Princes?
I think so.
I don't remember who the groups were in Princes.
Are those like the elemental cults?
Mm.
Not sure. That was pretty much all that happened. We had I guess we roleplayed a lot in the beginning. We saw what was going on. That was a fun chance to get to like use some of the out of combat like buffs and prepare for a fight, though, at least.
For sure.
And then we had that big fight, which, I mean, the other thing is these high-level fights are probably going to last longer, too, because everybody's got...
They are.
Although, we're also doing more damage. Be honest with me. Did you fudge any of the hit point numbers on there? Were we doing, like, way
Not
more
at all.
damage? Really? Okay.
I
was shocked. I was shocked about how much damage we were doing. Like, fucking shocked.
Horn Devils are beefy boys.
Okay.
I did... It was amusing me to no end that you guys literally split the damage straight evenly between the two.
Yeah.
It would get their damage, their health would go like...
It's like they were linked or something.
120, 130, 119, 110.
That's true.
90, 85.
That made it seem like it was a lot harder.
That.
Yeah. I had my crosshairs on one dude. I was going to stick to that one, and then they all started attacking the other one.
You were most of the damage to that one. So that one was just you.
Yeah, I think Tim might have hit a few times.
Kether got one really good... Tim got a hit, and Kether got one good hit on that one.
Yeah.
And then the other three were piling onto...
yeah, that's true. I forgot we were splitting that damage so much. That's something you guys did in Tomb occasionally, too, is I would cackle. Like, you guys are doing a perfect job of splitting up all this damage, which is great for the DM, because you still get all your toys on the battlefield.
Yep. So at the end, on Scarlet's turn, I knew she was going to do it too. On Scarlet's turn, one of them had 8 life, the other one had 11 life. I was like, well, there's no way if she hits, there's no way she's not killing both of these things.
Wow.
You guys' ACs are crazy, though. Horn Devils are pretty simple creatures.
Mm-hmm.
All they've got is Hurl Flame, Forks, and Tails.
That's funny. It's literally
they've got no
fork.
Spells. Yeah,
that's the thing I would use my third level short rest spell slots on. Probably more than anything else is counterspell.
Yeah, if they had actually cast a spell on you.
If there are any spellcasters, then I can deal with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or try to. Request: You must go to all the tentacles room. I agree. That's hard to pass up. I like the way you described it. All the tentacles.
All the tentacles.
We gotta check that out. How are you finding it as a DM running high-level combat encounters, Chris?
So far, great.
Yeah.
So far, I have not encountered that, and people have warned me repeatedly about how swingy high-level combat can be, where, like, a fight starts, and you've just miscalculated the enemy, and they're just doing way too much to the heroes, or the other way around, where the heroes just come in and just wipe the floor. So far, it's been fine. That first fight was supposed to be like a medium high, like kind of a challenge. Mm-hmm. This one was supposed to be kind of a medium low, like not really. It's not like really challenging, or not really challenging, but like not, I don't know, not fatal, not lethal in any way.
Right. It didn't
like mid dungeon fight.
It didn't seem like we took too many hit point damage, but I did notice people were using quite a few spells. And that's always also the other factor that fights are going to drain from you.
And that's kind of the goal of one of those fights.
It's like, oh, this is going swimmingly. Oh, yeah, we're spending all of our things to kill these things.
I will say that's probably the biggest consequence, which I kind of like so far, of high level D or higher level tier 3 D&D, is that you guys don't seem to be afraid of using resources.
Yeah, that is a lot more fun. I mean,
because you guys probably have like 7 or 8 in the bucket.
Baldur's Gate 2 is beloved as a game, and I'm telling you, the reason is because you start at level fucking 8 in that game, and it's way more fun to start at that level in D&D than it is at level 1. Because you get to use a lot of fun toys and actually feel like an adventurer, not have like, I've got one spell I can use.
Yeah,
and I better save it. Yeah, like that's bullshit.
And that's when you've got like literally like one level 2 spell slot, that level 2 spell becomes like, I better not touch this. When you've got 5, like I think Scarlet has.
Yeah.
It's like, Divine Smite.
Divine Smite, yeah. That shit's like, oh shit, that's not... you gotta ration that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, Scarlet did get all the kills. Which the only bummer is, whenever I kill something, specifically, I get temporary hit points. I was really bummed about it. It actually does help me to get the kills on things. I get a nice little overshield. The Harpers, Lords Alliance... Oh! The actual fact... We didn't really play with the factions that... Well, at least in Princes we didn't. In Storm Kings, we played with the Zentarum. But I don't think we ever really played with the factions in Prince of the Apocalypse. That was when we were just starting to tie characters into different things. So, like, your character we tied into the Knights of Samalar, I think it was called. And Miri was tied into... I think I made her mom one of the delegates that was captured. So instead of worrying about factions, I just hide in individual characters to other aspects of the game. Which is the same thing in Tomb of Annihilation.
I remember in the beginning of Storm Kings asking you guys, like, who wants to be part of whatever factions, because there's all the factions are happening, and nobody seemed terribly interested in, like...
Because none of us are really super into, like, Forgotten Realms lore or anything necessarily, so it's more about just our individual characters, what we're doing, rather than I want to be part of this team. And that's... It always seemed like it was an Adventurers League thing anyway. It's like, you need to be part of this certain faction, and then you can rank up your reputation, all that. It'd be cool to include enemies of the characters from the adventure getting used by the demons, angels against the players.
Oh, Jerome. Just wait, my friend.
You're touching on something there. Yeah, I mean we've got a lot of stuff to draw from, for sure.
We've got time.
Yeah, there'll be some
the
fun
angels
references.
And demons are not passive.
Not above drawing all that.
Talos was a member of the Harpers. I remember that. Yeah.
Okay, I guess that came up. But the bigger thing about Talos wasn't even the Harpers. It was that...
It was the Red Wizards.
Yeah, it was the Red Wizards.
Right?
He used to be the... He once either was one or worked with them. And that was in Last One of Fendelver.
Wasn't like his whole name different? Like Talos wasn't even really his real name?
Yes,
I remember something like that.
That's true. He changed his name. He saw something, fled, and changed his name. And at some point in Phandelver, he met a Red Wizard, and then in Princes, he met a Red Wizard, and that was a whole like scene where he had to battle her.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I don't ever think we use the factions too much. I do remember we used the Zentarum quite a bit in Storm Kings, though, just because Heather ended up loving that whole faction. But
right, I'm gonna have to throw more spellcasters at you guys because that tail attack is nasty damage, and what I realized in that fight is you guys, most of you, have very high AC.
Yeah, dude. I mean, that's...
So those devils weren't hitting that often.
Yeah. Although you had a plus 10 to hit. You should have been hitting more often,
I know.
Frankly.
I should have. I was rolling a lot of
had like
6-7s.
Yeah, you should have had like a 40% or something, and it seemed like it was lower than that.
Yeah.
I think, because Tim's is like 22, Scarlet's I think is 19 or 20. Mine's 17.
20, you're hit, Tim.
Yeah.
Oh, no, wait, it's Tim.
Well, before what's funny is, you used to get all those 20 plus hits and then you were hitting him, and now you're actually not, right. So his defense actually staying on there.
Mm-hmm.
How do I get my players to follow the quests? Make the quests worth doing, I guess, without... figure out what your players' backstory is and what they're into and what matters to them, and then draw a quest from there.
Throw a mom or dad in there.
Throw a mom or dad or a sibling or something. Yeah, just you don't have to use the factions, but you can use the characters for sure. Or offer them rewards like any quest. We'll give you this if you do this.
Yeah, just straight up have someone offer them something. Yeah.
Chris, when will beloved Mannix make his grand debut? Mannix is... Where did we leave Mannix? He was kicking around in Cholt, I think.
Yeah, him and Theron were just kicking around in Cholt.
Although he's being hunted by the UNT, as I recall.
Right. Probably. Mannix and Theron are having their own little adventures.
Yeah.
Dodging UNT and raiding tombs in Cholt. They're doing their...
It's a Winter Soldier Captain Falcon. It'll be on Netflix
That's
the
right.
Adventures of Theron and
Not quite
Mannix.
the budget of a full campaign. But...
It's like a Daredevil, Jessica Jones budget Netflix show. Yeah, we might not acknowledge the wider universe, but they'll be there.
They're there. They're doing stuff.
They'll say something about it. What else? Do we have anything else to talk about? I think we're going for...
You guys had a little bit more role play in the hallway where you and Scarlet came to some sort of understanding. I didn't know Scarlet was going to straight up attack you.
I wasn't sure either. I was like, oh my god.
And then you guys met the bellboy.
Who's a literal bell.
I
did not
expect
expect
a literal
that.
bellboy.
Honestly,
that's the joke.
I thought I was being stupid. Which my character has an intelligence of 9, and
Right.
He means well, but he's not necessarily the most studious. But I did not expect Bellboy to be a little bit. He heard the bells. He's like, oh, maybe that's the Bellboy, thinking he's an idiot.
That
so
absolutely is my joke. That is.
Well, I got that, but I thought, and my character was like, I was like, oh, but it's gonna be like, here's a bunch of angels warring with each other, something that happen to be making bell sounds. But like, oh no, that is the Bellboy. Okay, I got it. I like that you stopped it though. Like, right, we still described the room and you set things up and then teased it and like, okay, then we're gonna stop it here.
Yeah, I felt like at one point you guys were still in the Trant room and it was 9:30. And I was like, no, I'm not stopping. Either room I can get them right up to the edge of action.
Yeah.
And then we'll stop it. So I don't know how you guys are quite going to handle this room because right now it's Scarlet walking in there, but.
Yeah, one of these points,
find that out next
I keep waiting for Raymond to just like, all right, I'm gonna go around the corner and start shooting. I'm like, yeah, let's do that.
Mm-hmm.
Although I guess if you,
it's not George.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, you're more the like wait and see.
A different character.
Wait and see what happens. All right, different character. You fucking call me Kazan half the night.
And I couldn't remember who Kazan was.
Right.
Like, what did I know that name from?
What? That Kazan, that's so familiar.
I thought you named your guy Kazan Kalen or something, or Kalen Kazan.
Because yeah. All right, I need to come up with completely different names.
K.A.'s.
You got me. I like certain names. All right. Both my daughters are K sounds.
Yeah.
I like that sound.
It's a good sound.
Does Kalen have? Oh, okay. Kalen Cazador.
Kalen Cazador. Yes.
Oh, come on. Kalen Cazador.
Yeah. I know. Okay, I'll give you that.
I appreciate though that you have a vaguely Spanish last name and you're giving him a vaguely Spanish accent.
Thank you. I try.
I do appreciate that.
I try. I think Cazador literally is Spanish for hunter, I think.
Oh, is it an actual? Is it an actual Spanish word?
I think it actually is. Yeah. That's an easy way, by the way, to look up fun names for things. It's just to look up relevant words or cool words in different languages, and you'll come up with some good stuff. I mean, everybody always does Jaeger. Jaeger is such a popular. That's German for hunter.
Right.
So I didn't want to just rely on that. But yeah, that was now that I realize it.
Bellboy is the style of humor I get from the Terry Pratchett books. that's where that style of humor comes from.
Nice.
It's that kind of character.
Yeah. All right, I think we can wrap up this chat then, unless we have anything else.
People really want Kaylin and Catherine to fall in love.
Hey, it might happen. I don't know. If Kethra manages to kill a demon really in an impressive manner, Galen would love that.
Oh, and I will make both of you roleplay it to me.
It's an inevitable conclusion.
That's right.
No, I like the rival. I keep picturing the Legolas Gimli thing though, where they're just totally like getting kills and notching it, and each trying to like one up the other when it comes to the range attack damage. I think that's fun. A fun dynamic. All right, I think that will wrap it up. We usually try to shoot for around 30 minutes. We've actually gone about 40 minutes now. And we only had like one combat to talk about too, but I just love talking D&D with all of you.
Just talking D&D?
Just talking D&D. All right, so that will do it for this week's chat for the Lost Plane. Thank you to DM Chris, of course, for our campaign. Raymond, thank you for joining us for the chat. Thank you to all the fans for watching. I'm Eric, and we will be back next week for more War for the Lost Plane.
Yes, indeed.
Have a good weekend.
Bye.
Later.